BBC News at 11 o'clock. This is Harvey Cook. Sir Keir Starmer will welcome Ukraine's President Zelensky to Downing Street this afternoon to discuss American efforts to end his country's war with Russia. The French President Emmanuel Macron and the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz will also attend the meeting, taking place after President Trump accused Mr. Zelensky of not having read the US peace proposals. Our diplomatic correspondent James Landau says it looks like a familiar pattern.
At the moment where Donald Trump starts expressing a bit of frustration with the Ukrainian side for not backing down, the Europeans gather around Zelensky and provide a sort of protective huddle. The crucial issues are the Russians want to take part of eastern Ukraine that they haven't conquered militarily, and the Ukrainians are still looking for security guarantees to ensure that if there's a deal, they deter future Russian invasion.
Severe weather warnings have been issued ahead of Storm Bram, which is forecast to hit the UK tomorrow and on Wednesday. Gusts of up to 90 miles an hour are likely in northwest Scotland, but strong winds will also be felt widely. Heavy rain could lead to localised flooding, particularly in Wales and southwest England. There's the possibility of damage and transport disruption. Events are taking place in Syria to mark a year since the overthrow of President Bashar al-Assad. Crowds are gathering in the capital, Damascus, where a military parade will culminate with a skydiving display. These people taking part in the celebrations shared their thoughts.
Certainly, I am very happy, but at the same time, I am very worried about the future of my country because Bashar destroyed our country.
I was born in England, raised in England, but this is my home country. These are my family, everyone around here. They went through hell on earth.
You see the smile, we finished Assad regime, and now we are free.
South East Water says all 24,000 properties in Kent and East Sussex who were affected by a water outage last week should now have had their supplies restored. The company said the water was chemically safe, but people still needed to boil it before drinking, brushing teeth, cooking, washing dishes and cleaning kitchen surfaces. Staff at a military museum in Kent say they found duplicate copies of some of the hundreds of historic documents which were destroyed while being transported to Scotland for digitisation. The 1,700 technical drawings included plans for the construction of some of the D-Day harbours and bridges. They were in a van which was stolen and set alight in West Lothian last month. The director of the Royal Engineers Museum in Gillingham, Rebecca Nash, says the loss of these pieces of history was devastating.
So we're reviewing what we hold, and we are finding that we do have duplicate copies of some of the material, which is brilliant that we can actually now look at plugging some of the gaps that have been caused by the loss of this material. What remains still a very large archive, and whilst maybe not as complete as it was, still a very coherent story of wartime engineering.
And that's the BBC News at 3 minutes past 11.
With the 5 Live Sport Time show, Joe Sarker, reports say Mohamed Salah has arrived at the Liverpool training ground this morning ahead of the team's Champions League fixture away at Inter Milan tomorrow. After being put on the bench for the third consecutive match, Salah told reporters on Saturday that he felt like he had been thrown under the bus by Liverpool and that he no longer had a relationship with manager Arne Slot. A South Korean court has sentenced a woman who blackmailed footballer Son Heung-min to 4 years in prison. The woman in her 20s and her accomplice, a man in his 40s, were found guilty of blackmailing the former Tottenham captain by saying she was pregnant with his child. And the former England captain, Alex Stewart, is to return to his role as Surrey's director of cricket. He had stepped back from the job last year to support his wife Lynn, who was suffering from cancer.
You about? Join me, Roman Kemp, and me, Tom Grennan, for our weekly catch-up, otherwise known as a podcast.
Oh, race across the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
You like it? Brilliant. One time, we walked past this bloke's shop, and there was a mattress on the floor. I said to him, how much for the mattress? And we just selected the back of his bloke's shop.
Really?
That's how desperate you are for a bed.
Did they not look after you, like, what, when the cameras are off?
No way.
No?
It's real, man.
You about? Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live. Naga Munchetty.
Listen on BBC Sounds. Good morning to you. It is 4 minutes past 11. It's Monday the 8th of December. Welcome to the programme. I hope you're well, as it's Monday.
Safety, he said, this guy has 2.7 million followers. The clear implication was, what might one of those people do? You had the same thoughts and feelings from Lucy Ward and Eni Aluko, that it wasn't just Joey Barton's post per se, it was what they then engendered in other people and made people feel able to send them in social media posts and messages and so on. That the impact was magnified because of the level of Joey Barton's online following, and that abuse then was then piled on top of what Joey Barton himself had said, and that had massive impact on all three people's lives and deeply, deeply traumatised and affected them.
That was Ryan Bridger, our correspondent, talking to my colleague Karin Giannoni. More from me after 12.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
BBC News at midday, this is Harvey Cook. Within the past hour, the former footballer Joey Barton has been given a 6-month prison sentence, suspended for 18 months for sending grossly offensive social media messages. The former Manchester City player sent messages to Radio 2's Jeremy Vine and the football pundits Eni Aluko and Lucy Ward. Sentencing him at Liverpool Crown Court, Judge Andrew Menery Casey said the posts were targeted, extreme and harmful.
You also told the author of the report that you have recently taken steps to moderate your online behaviour. Well, only time will tell whether this resolve endures.
Sir Keir Starmer is preparing to host talks at Downing Street with Ukraine's President Zelensky and other European allies about the terms of the US-backed deal to end Russia's war in Ukraine. Ivana Klimpush-Tusinsadze is chair of the Parliamentary Committee on the Integration of Ukraine to the EU. She says all European countries must make their voices heard during America's push for peace.
These are the American partners as they pretend to continue being the neutral moderator, but at the same time it seems that they are getting more and more on the side of the aggressor of the Russian Federation, trying to push Ukraine and Europe into something that is called peace, but which will not lead to lasting and sustainable peace on this continent.
The former BBC Radio 1 DJ Tim Westwood has pleaded not guilty to 15 charges, including 4 counts of rape. The alleged offences occurred between 1983 and 2016 against 7 women. The 68-year-old appeared at Southwark Crown Court this morning and will go on trial in January 2027. The Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch says setting up the national inquiry into grooming gangs must be accelerated and should consider the role of ethnicity, religion and other cultural factors. 2 potential candidates to chair the inquiry have already withdrawn, and several abuse survivors said they would not be involved, accusing ministers of watering down the investigation. Speaking at a news conference, Ms Badenoch said the victims and their families must be put first.
I believe that the survivors deserve more. I believe that they need a judge-led inquiry, not someone from an institution that has failed survivors before. I have spoken to many survivors and advocates. Sitting at this table, we have parents, survivors, advocates. They have told me that they are losing hope with this inquiry. I don't want that to happen. I want to give them hope.
The government's promised £725 million of funding to create 50,000 apprenticeships in England. Ministers want to reverse a 40% fall in the number of young people starting apprenticeships over the past decade. And the Coast Guard's warning people not to touch hundreds of boxes of soft fruit which have been washing up on beaches across the south of England. 16 containers of bananas, plantains and avocados destined for Tesco were washed off a cargo ship in choppy waters off the Isle of Wight. And that's BBC News at 3 minutes past midday.
And with the sport, I'm Shabnam Yunus-Jewel. It's reported Mohamed Salah is training with his Liverpool teammates this morning ahead of their Champions League fixture away at Inter Milan tomorrow. Salah said on Saturday he felt like he'd been thrown under the bus by the team and that his relationship with head coach Arne Slot had broken down. A 2026 World Cup fixture designated by organisers as an LGBTQ plus pride match will feature 2 countries, Egypt and Iran, where homosexuality is illegal. The plans were put in place by the local organising committee in Seattle before the teams involved in the fixture were selected for the draw for the World Cup was made. And the former England captain Alex Stewart is to return to his role as Surrey's director of cricket. He'd stepped back from the job last year to support his wife Lynn, who was suffering from cancer.
There he is. My name's Pine. I'm the night manager.
On BBC iPlayer.
Richard Roper is selling arms in the heart of Cairo. I want to put you inside his operation.
You got any idea how dangerous that is?
The brand new series of The Night Manager is coming.
You have to commit.
Get ready by watching Series 1.
Anyone could betray anyone. You have to make a decision. Don't you dare threaten me!
The Night Manager.
Oh, I can't wait.
On BBC iPlayer.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live. Naga Munchetty.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Welcome back. 4 minutes past 12 is the time. Still to come.